Kody Brown never planned to lose his family. He truly believed control was still in his hands. He believed raising his voice was leadership. And his biggest mistake? He believed the real power belonged to him. But when a system starts changing from the inside, the last person to notice is always the one who thinks he's in charge. And that's where the real story of the Brown family begins. When Robyn entered the family, no one sensed danger. Not the viewers, not the wives, and especially not Kody. Because Robyn wasn't loud. She wasn't aggressive. She wasn't confrontational. She was careful. And careful people are never obvious at first. In the beginning, everything looked perfect. A new wife, fresh energy, new promises. Kody felt powerful again, desired again, respected again. And that's when the psychological shift happened, a shift the cameras captured but no one truly understood. Power doesn't shift through arguments. It shifts when someone starts giving you what everyone else has stopped giving. And Robyn gave Kody something the other wives were exhausted from providing. Unquestioned agreement. Christine questioned him. Janelle used logic. Meri asked for emotional clarity. Robyn performed understanding. And that difference seems small until you realize what leaders crave the most. Challenge or confirmation. Every relationship has a silent test. When I'm wrong, will you tell me? Christine's answer was yes. Janelle's answer was logical reasoning. Meri's answer was emotional honesty. Robyn's answer was simple. You're not wrong. And that's when everything began to change. Kody's language shifted. His body language changed. His reactions became predictable. And the most noticeable thing of all, his anger became selective. When Christine was hurt, Kody became defensive. When Janelle disagreed, Kody became hostile. When Meri broke down, Kody became distant. But when Robyn was emotional, Kody went silent, protective, almost submissive. That isn't coincidence. That's conditioning. Robyn never made open demands. She never said, "Choose me." She simply made Kody feel that every choice he made was entirely his own. And when a man truly believes all his decisions are self-made, he becomes the easiest person to control. During all of this, the other wives missed one critical detail. The rules had already changed. No announcement was ever made. The family used to run on teamwork. Suddenly, it became a loyalty test. Disagreement was once allowed. Now it was labeled disrespect. Emotional distance used to be a problem. Now it became a punishment. And the most dangerous part? No one was ever told when the new system was put in place. COVID was only an excuse. The real experiment had started long before. And when the results came in, only one household passed the test. Robyn's. This raises a question TLC never clearly answers. If the rules were truly about safety, why did flexibility exist in only one place? And if safety mattered more than anything else, how did emotional damage become so acceptable? At this stage, the family was still technically together. But emotionally, the system had already collapsed. And when a system collapses, people either adapt or they exit. Christine chose to exit. And that single decision exposed everything. But the story doesn't end there. Because Christine leaving wasn't the cause. She was the symptom. The real problem was still waiting to surface. And the next phase was going to be far more uncomfortable. The most dangerous decisions in the Brown family were never made on camera. They happened in quiet moments, in private conversations, in spaces the audience never saw. And by the time those decisions showed up on screen, they were already irreversible. Here's the truth most viewers underestimate. Robyn didn't need to dominate the room. She didn't need to argue. She didn't need to fight for attention. She only needed access. Access to Kody's doubts. Access to his insecurities. Access to the version of him that felt disrespected, challenged, and misunderstood. That's where the real influence lived. Off camera, Kody wasn't the loud patriarch viewers saw. He was defensive, easily wounded, obsessed with the idea that he was being undermined. And Robyn knew exactly how to speak to that version of him. Not by correcting him, but by validating him. She never said, "They're wrong." She said things like, "I don't know how you put up with that. I couldn't handle being treated that way. I just want peace for you." Those sentences are invisible weapons. Because they don't attack others directly, they reshape perception. Slowly, Kody stopped asking, "Am I being fair?" and started asking, "Why can't they see what I'm dealing with?" That shift changes everything. This is where dependency began. Not financial, not physical, emotional. Kody didn't just want Robyn around. He needed her reactions to validate his reality. If she agreed, he felt strong. If she cried, he felt justified. If she felt unsafe, he felt righteous. Her emotions became his compass. Meanwhile, the other wives were unknowingly being moved into opposition roles. Not because they changed, but because they no longer reinforced the narrative Kody needed. Christine wanted affection. Janelle wanted fairness. Meri wanted honesty. None of those requests made Kody feel powerful. They made him feel exposed. And exposure is terrifying to someone who equates authority with control. Watch closely how conflict evolved. In earlier seasons, disagreements were messy but mutual. Later, conflict became one-sided. Kody talked. The wives reacted. And when they reacted emotionally, it was labeled as disrespect. But when Robyn reacted emotionally, it was labeled as concern. That double standard didn't appear overnight. It was trained. By the time COVID entered the story, the hierarchy was already locked in. The rules weren't created for safety. They were created for clarity. Clarity about who mattered most. Kody didn't enforce COVID rules equally. He enforced them selectively. Compliance wasn't about health. It was about alignment. Who agreed without resistance? Who accepted isolation quietly? Who didn't challenge his authority? The answers always pointed in one direction. Robyn's household became the baseline. Everyone else was measured against it. And failing to meet that standard came with consequences. Isolation, distance, emotional withdrawal, punishments that were never called punishments. Christine felt it first. She wasn't just lonely. She was erased. Her needs were dismissed as selfish. Her pain reframed as disloyalty. And when she finally spoke up, Kody didn't hear heartbreak. He heard rebellion. That's when the narrative officially flipped. Christine wasn't unhappy anymore. She was unsafe for the family. Janelle saw it too. She tried reason. She tried compromise. She tried staying neutral. But neutrality doesn't survive favoritism. Eventually, she was forced to choose. Align or be pushed out. Meri's situation was even more unsettling. She became the example. Stay quiet, accept scraps, or lose everything. Her continued presence wasn't inclusion. It was containment. Through all of this, Robyn remained positioned as the emotional anchor. The reasonable one. The loyal one. The wife who understood Kody. And Kody leaned into that role with desperation. Here's the part most people miss. Kody wasn't being controlled through manipulation alone. He was being controlled through relief. Relief from criticism. Relief from accountability. Relief from self-reflection. Robyn didn't make him angry. She gave him permission to be angry without feeling guilty. That's powerful. By the time Christine left, the family structure was already a shell. Her departure didn't break the family. It revealed that it had already been broken. Kody's reaction to her leaving wasn't grief. It was rage. Because control was slipping and everyone could see it. He spoke about betrayal, about loyalty, about sacrifice, but never about love. That omission says everything. After Christine, the cracks widened. Janelle stopped pretending. Meri stopped hoping. And Kody doubled down. When leaders feel threatened, they don't self-correct. They tighten their grip. And Robyn remained the only one who didn't challenge that grip. But here's the twist. As the family collapsed, so did the illusion. Because once the other wives emotionally checked out, Kody was left with something he hadn't prepared for. Silence. No pushback. No negotiation. No audience. And silence is dangerous for someone who needs conflict to feel important. Robyn didn't gain a peaceful household. She inherited the weight of being the last emotional outlet, the only mirror left. And mirrors don't lie forever. The question now wasn't who was right. It was something far more unsettling. What happens when the person you protected starts unraveling, with no one else left to blame? Because the family didn't end in chaos. It ended in exposure. And the most uncomfortable part was still ahead. The collapse didn't happen in private. That's what made it humiliating. It happened on camera, in interviews, in confessionals, in moments Kody thought he was still in control. But control was already gone. There's a point in every power shift when the person at the center realizes something is wrong. Not because people leave. Not because rules fail. But because the reactions stop working. And that's exactly what happened to Kody Brown. For years, anger had been his weapon. He raised his voice. He reframed the argument. He accused, deflected, and dominated. And it worked, until it didn't. As the wives emotionally disengaged, Kody's anger stopped producing results. Christine didn't come back. Janelle didn't submit. Meri didn't beg. They listened, and then they detached. That shift broke him. Because detachment is something you can't argue with. On camera, the change was impossible to ignore. Kody started repeating himself, recycling the same talking points, obsessing over loyalty. Not love, not partnership, loyalty. That word became his shield. Any disagreement was betrayal. Any boundary was abandonment. Any independence was disobedience. And suddenly, the audience wasn't watching a family dynamic anymore. They were watching a man unravel. His interviews grew sharper, more defensive, more erratic. He spoke like someone who needed to convince himself first. Here's the moment everything flipped. When viewers stopped asking, what did the wives do wrong? And started asking, what happened to Kody? Because the anger didn't look powerful anymore. It looked desperate. Robyn noticed it too. And for the first time, her calm wasn't enough to stabilize him. She cried more, spoke softer, tried to explain his pain for him. But explanation doesn't replace accountability. And the cameras didn't miss that shift. Instead of appearing united, they began to look isolated. Not a team, a closed circuit. The more Kody lashed out, the more Robyn tried to translate him. And that dynamic revealed something uncomfortable. She wasn't calming the fire. She was standing between him and the consequences. Viewers started picking up on it. Why was Robyn always speaking for Kody? Why did she frame his anger as confusion? Why did she cry when others set boundaries? The narrative cracked. And once it cracked, everything poured out. Christine's happiness after leaving became the most damning contrast of all. She didn't look bitter. She didn't look lost. She looked free. That freedom shattered the myth that obedience was the only path to peace. And Kody couldn't handle that. Instead of reflecting, he doubled down. He blamed editing. He blamed misunderstanding. He blamed everyone but himself. But something irreversible had happened. The audience no longer trusted him. And when public perception shifts, control evaporates fast. Janelle's calm detachment made Kody look volatile. Meri's emotional exhaustion made him look indifferent. And Robyn's constant defense made everything look rehearsed. No one needed to accuse anyone anymore. The patterns spoke for themselves. This is where the power dynamic turned inward. Kody wasn't fighting the wives anymore. He was fighting the image of himself that no longer worked. He talked about respect because he wasn't receiving it. He talked about leadership because he had lost it. And he talked about betrayal because deep down, he felt exposed. The cameras didn't create this collapse. They revealed it. Robyn tried to maintain control of the narrative. She talked about miscommunication, about pain on all sides, about wanting the family back. But her words didn't match the reality. Because families don't rebuild by isolating accountability. Kody didn't need support anymore. He needed restraint. And no one was giving it. That's when the realization hit. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Quietly. The system that protected him was gone. No wives to challenge. No wives to submit. Just one household absorbing all the emotional fallout. And pressure does one thing when it has nowhere to go. It turns inward. Robyn didn't gain peace. She gained responsibility. Responsibility for a partner who no longer had an audience to perform for. Responsibility for anger that had nowhere else to land. The final illusion was breaking. And the most uncomfortable truth was about to surface. Because the collapse of the Brown family was never about plural marriage. It was about power without accountability. And once accountability arrived, everything changed. The cameras stopped filming, but the fallout didn't. What remained wasn't drama. It wasn't argument. It was silence. And silence can be louder than any fight. For Kody Brown, the illusion of control had finally shattered. Not in a single dramatic moment, but in the quiet spaces between conversations. In the unspoken judgments of his family. In the absence of agreement where he once demanded it. Robyn was no longer just a wife. She had become the last mirror reflecting everything Kody had built. His anger, his control, his identity, all laid bare. And mirrors are merciless. Christine moved on. She wasn't bitter. She wasn't plotting. She was free. And freedom is contagious. Janelle's detachment remained steady. Her silence spoke louder than any confrontation. She had given up the fight, but not the dignity. Meri was the quiet casualty. She had endured the most. She had hoped the most. And yet, she realized too late that endurance alone couldn't save her. And Kody? He was left with only Robyn. The one who had been the architect of his fragile emotional cage. The one who had maintained loyalty while others disengaged. But Robyn's loyalty wasn't unconditional. It wasn't blind. It was transactional, built on the reality that survival required mediation and guidance. The cameras captured the collapse, but they couldn't capture the weight it left behind. Because the collapse wasn't external. It wasn't about betrayal or rebellion. It was internal. Kody was facing the truth he had long avoided. Power without respect is just isolation in disguise. Robyn didn't celebrate victory. There was no triumph in watching the man she had carefully guided realize how far he had fallen. What she inherited was responsibility. Responsibility for managing someone who could no longer lead himself. Responsibility for keeping the family intact, even as everyone else had already walked away emotionally. The irony was brutal. She gained control not by confrontation, but by restraint. By quietly shaping the environment. By making Kody feel empowered while quietly redirecting every decision. And in the end, that subtle manipulation had more lasting impact than any argument, any fight, any dramatic scene ever captured on camera. Kody's anger, once a weapon, became a liability. His confidence, once absolute, became performative. His identity, once the foundation of a family, became a fragile shadow. And the most painful realization? It wasn't the audience who judged him. It wasn't his critics. It was the family he had thought he controlled, who no longer recognized him. The aftermath is rarely discussed. Because it's uncomfortable to admit, the Brown family didn't collapse due to greed, infidelity, or scandal. It collapsed because one person quietly rewrote the rules without anyone noticing until it was too late. And that's the hardest part to accept. No one won. No one walked away unscathed. Not Kody, not the wives, not even Robyn, who bore the burden of steering a sinking ship. What remained was silence. A household still together, but emotionally fractured. A man realizing he had lost authority. A family realizing they had lost structure. And a narrative the cameras could never fully capture. The final truth is stark. Control is not given. Control is earned or manipulated. And when a family's foundation relies on perception rather than partnership, collapse isn't a question of if, but when. Robyn had survived, but at the cost of witnessing the slow unraveling of everything Kody had believed he controlled. Kody had authority, but lost the trust and respect needed to wield it. And the rest of the wives? They had escaped the battle, but not without scars. This story doesn't end with dramatic confrontations. It ends quietly, painfully, with the recognition that power without accountability always finds its way back to truth. And the most haunting part? The cameras captured only fragments. The real story, the one that reveals who is truly in control, is in the silence, the pauses, the things left unsaid.